Jessie Edwards is a WA native who has played professionally in Australia, Spain and Germany. She more recently made headlines in the NBL1 West and NBL1 Nationals competitions with the Cockburn Cougars. The Cougars made history by winning the NBL1 West 2025 championship in an undefeated season. They made it all the way to the NBL1 Nationals Grand Final, where the Cougars suffered the first and only loss of the season to the Knox Raiders. The 30-year-old was outstanding at NBL1 Nationals, averaging 26 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists and 3 blocks per game, earning a spot in the All-Star 5 of the tournament. Edwards is currently playing in the Tauihi League in New Zealand for the Southern Hoiho. In this episode, Edward checks in from Dunedin, home of the Hoiho, and tells us more about the Tauihi League, how it compares to other international leagues, and what makes her current club so special. Jessie, welcome to Front Row Hustle. Thank you so much for being a guest with us.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're very excited to hear a little bit more about your opportunity that you got to sign with the Southern Hoiho over there in the New Zealand League. So tell us about what attracted you to the club and how did this opportunity arise?
Well, I actually was told about this opportunity because my current and past teammate Taylor Simmons, she was actually recommended to the team, and the team was looking for a center as well. So Taylor said to our coach Todd, she said, "Oh, I know a center, my friend Jessie," and so she actually kind of gave me that in there. And I'd heard about the New Zealand League before too, so I was pretty excited to have a look at what it's like, because a couple girls that I know have played there before and they loved it. And another reason why I decided to come too is that just having a chat to Todd and our GM Ange, they just seemed like really good people who wanted to run the club in the right way, and that was really appealing to me. So that was one of the other reasons.
Oh, awesome. Did they tell you much about, because I think the club's based in Dunedin, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Did they tell you much more about Dunedin and what to expect living there for a few months during the season and what it's like?
They told me a little bit about it. They told me there's a big university here, so there's lots of students and it's very far south. So they said you're going to have to dress in layers, which is very opposite to the Perth summer. But no, it is nice here. It's really pretty. It has very beautiful nature and lovely people. It's very chilled, relaxed, laid back. So and it's one thing they don't tell you is that every now and again you can see the aurora down here, the Southern Lights. So I haven't seen it yet myself, but I'm hoping to see it at some point while I'm here.
Yeah, that's really cool. And truth be told, I only learned about the Southern Lights not too long ago, and you can even see them in Tasmania sometimes. So I think New Zealand would be even better positioned to see the Southern Lights. Have the locals told you we're the best time of year that you can catch the Southern Lights down in Dunedin?
Not exactly, but there's one of our teammates, Sammy. She has all the apps and keeps tracking it all the time because she loves to take photo of them. And my teammate Taylor, she's a photographer too, so she's got all the apps. I live with Taylor, so she's been tracking it all too and hoping to be able to go and see it. We had a good one the other night where they were really bright, but there was lots of cloud cover, so we couldn't see it, unfortunately. But we're just holding and hoping that we're going to be able to see it by the end of the season.
Yeah, it sounds like at least you got really close, and I suppose with your teammates onto it, especially Taylor being a photographer, like you said, I'm sure she's pretty keen to get some photos firsthand. And it looks like as a team, based on the social media content I've seen from the club, you've done some team bonding and some tourist activities. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you've been up to as a team?
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, we went to Queenstown to visit and do a couple clinics for them, for one of our sponsors, and that was a lot of fun. We did 2 clinics, but after the clinics, we went to the mountain over there, and we went up the gondola, We went on the luge, which was exciting. Had a few luge rides and raced around on there. And they have a lovely restaurant up there, up the top of the mountain with beautiful views. So we had a really good time. And we've really bonded as a team because our team's just full of lovely people. And we're all really friendly and get along. So it's really nice to be in a team like that.
Because do you have a bit more of a playing history with some of the other team members? I noticed that, you've mentioned Taylor Simmons, who you're good friends with and have played with before, but I noticed some other talent from Western Australia has joined your team too, with the likes of Claire Jacobs.
I haven't played with Claire before, but I've played against her in NBL 1. So it's nice to have her over there. And who else played there last season? I know Eva played in the NBL 1 West last season. I think Zoe might have played over there too. So I've had a lot of people that I've played against, and played with Taylor and a couple other teams as well. So it's nice to have her. Not only is she my friend, but we have good team chemistry as well, having played together so much.
And also Paige Bradley has returned to the Southern Hoiho, she also played for them last season, and you recently played against her at the NBL 1 Nationals. So do you think sometimes having that familiarity, even though you've been opponents, helps going into a brand new team for a new season?
I think so as well. It's good in two ways. One, to have played against them so you understand their style of play and you can better work with them. But it's also good just to, in some capacity, know the people that you're around. And in some capacity, I have known a lot of the people in our team, a lot of the Aussies at least.
Yeah, that's great. There's a big Aussie connection this season over in New Zealand, which is very exciting. And so we'll have to keep an eye on especially the Southern Hoiho, because there's a few Aussies in there, but there are a couple more across the league. But just tell us a little bit more about Southern Hoiho as a club as well. You mentioned offline a really cool story about the logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those who aren't from New Zealand listening probably wouldn't really know what Hoiho means. And so it's a Maori word, and it's the word for, there's like a penguin, and it has a yellow streak on its eye. I think it's endangered, and there's a lot of conservation efforts around bringing it back, and it's an animal that's local to the area that we're in, far south New Zealand, and it's our mascot because we wanted to do something that was local to the area. There's a lot of local connection for our club with players, and also now our ownership is local as well. And so the Hoiho, it's you can kind of see it in our logo. It's got that yellow stripe around its eye, and we got a little basketball in the middle. I don't know if you can see that, but
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and so there's a cool connection between not only the Maori language, but the local wildlife and just the local community. So it's a pretty cool story, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a really great story. Thanks for sharing it again. That's why I thought we may as well share it the rest with the wider Front Row Hustle audience, because it sounds like that when they kind of brought back the Professional Women's League in New Zealand, they wanted to have a bit more of a stronger focus on connecting the league and the clubs, particularly with a lot of the Maori culture and roots. And it looks like they made a purposeful effort with that this time.
Yeah, I think the vast majority of the clubs have Maori mascot names, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I certainly agree. And in terms of the club, you mentioned before that when you were speaking to the club members before signing, you really liked some ways about how they were running the club. What were some of the ways that they run the club that attracted you the most? Was it the connection to culture and the community?
That's one of the reasons, but I didn't discover it until I actually got here. So we've been very lucky to be able to go to a marae, which is like a Maori meeting place, and learn about some of the culture. And we've really done well. We have Matthew on our team who has connected us a lot with the Maori language and culture, and we're really lucky to have him there to be that connection for us. And aside from that integration, which I think is really special, the people at the club, they are very player focused, so they're doing everything they can for the players. There can be a lot of professional clubs who are just focused on winning and things from a more financial perspective, but the people in this club actually care about the club, and especially the local people who have been here for a while, and they care about the club, they care about the people who have come beforehand and the kids who are coming through. So I got the feeling when I was talking to people on the phone before I came that everyone involved was involved for the right reasons, for the people and for the basketball. And that's one of the major reasons why I decided to join.
I think that becomes so important the further you go into your career, making sure you're going to be looked after as a person. And because you've played in a lot of different places, you've played obviously a lot here in Australia, but you've also played in Spain and Germany and now New Zealand. And do you feel like you're at a part now in your career where you can start to, I suppose, be a bit of a role model for some of the younger players coming up into the professional leagues and give them a little bit of advice of what to look for when choosing a club?
Definitely. I think, it is very individual as for why people are playing professional basketball, like what you value and what you're really doing it for. But I think what most people get the most satisfaction out of is, for some people it might be just like advancing your career and like climbing as high as you can. Other people, it might be, the community and the people that you meet. I think it is for a lot of people. The community and the people that you meet. And for me, I first realized that when I started at Cockburn, and we were building a real community program, and I was coaching little under 12 girls and seeing them show up at the games. So I've really seen firsthand what community involvement and having people who care about the club and the people in it can do.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I only just realized as well that your Hoiho colours are very similar to your Cockburn Cougars
They
colours.
are rather similar, aren't they? Always
So
seem
it's
to
a
end
little.
up in blue and yellow.
What other teams have you played in that's blue and yellow too?
Not blue and yellow, but I've had elements of it. So when I was in Germany, both teams that I played in Germany were blue and white, and then my Spain team uniform was either black and blue or white and blue. So I'm always in blue, it seems.
Yeah. A little bit of home away from home.
Yeah, exactly. Bring a little with me.
Yeah, that's lovely. And what's the one thing about Southern Hoiho you would like all the fans in Australia to know about?
Mm-hmm. I want them to know that it's going to be a really exciting season for us, and we've got really talented individual players, and we're just starting to come together as a team now. We had a difficult first two games, but our game we had this weekend on Sunday, yesterday actually, at the time of this recording, it was a really nice game because we started getting that team chemistry and everything started feeling as it should. We were having fun on the court and we were scoring. We were playing great defense, great hustle plays. So having seen that now, I think we are a really strong team and we're really going to take it to all the rest of the league. So come watch the Hoiho. We play some good basketball. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, definitely. And all of the games are streamed online as well for Australian basketball fans to be able to watch at home. What has your impressions been of the Tauihi League so far?
I think it's been really professional, honestly. The facilities, the teams, the game days have been really well done. And from my perspective, from my club, we're really well taken care of. So it's been a really good, really professional experience for me. So I recommend anyone who has the opportunity to come and play in the league.
Has the standard of play kind of met your expectations so far?
Yeah, it's been a good standard of play. There's a lot of talented players. You'll see a lot of Australian players coming over and playing. In most of the teams, even if there aren't, there's some great New Zealand players, there's American players coming over. So I would say the standard of competition is really quite good. Although there's only 5 teams at the moment in the league, I'm sure in the future that'll grow. It is a short season at the moment. I think we have maybe 12 games. So it's a short season, but the competition is good and it's fun to watch. There's a lot of great plays going on.
And in terms of your weekly and daily schedule, is it similar to other professional teams you've been a part of? Say, for example, when you were with the Perth Lynx most recently?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty similar to the Perth Lynx schedule in that we have, depending on our travelling schedule, anywhere from 3, 4, or 5 sessions a week. Probably slow down if we have double headers, but team gym sessions. I'd say probably train a little less in Europe than in Europe. There's no, double sessions multiple times a week, but they provide us everything we need. If we need like individual sessions, we can jump in when we want with the coaches. But yeah, I'd say it's probably similar to a WNBL roster schedule.
Yeah, that's awesome. It makes sense as to why so many players that we know a lot from the WNBL have started to play in the Tauihi League and making that transition. Some people are a little bit worried that because that Tauihi is growing in popularity, it's really attractive because it's still a competitive salary, it's still a professional environment for a short period of time, that's going to put the WNBL under some pressure, or we're going to continue to lose talent to Tauihi. Do you see that happening, or do you feel like both leagues can still be sustainable?
That's a great question. I think both can be sustainable, but it's a good thing that there is that kind of can't think of a better word than threat from the Tauihi League, because I think it just pushes each league to become better and more competitive, to draw more people. There's no shortage of basketball players, I think, in Australia. So it's great to have more opportunities for people as well that might not have the chance to get into a WNBL team. That can come over here, they can prove themselves if that's what they want, play in either league, because they're both great leagues to be in.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the two can coexist, and it's important that they do coexist for the reason you said, that making sure that the competition can be broader. There's plenty of players to go around, but making almost a competition between two leagues is going to make each of those individual competitions more competitive. Again, in a similar way to like having enough basketball clubs in a city of a high standard competing against each other week in, week out when you play your junior reps is going to make you ultimately better as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely having more teams, I think, for people to play in is just good all around, because basketball, especially for women, is becoming more and more popular. You see the young girls now, there's at least in WA Wobble, our junior competition, there's like 4 or 5 teams at every age group, whereas when I was young, and a lot of the players playing and coming through from my kind of age group, there was just one team. So there's going to be more and more players, which is fantastic, because like you said, more competition, better leagues, more opportunities.
And side note, I love how you call that competition the Wobble. I didn't realize. I always read it online as just WABL, but
Yeah.
It makes sense as to why it's the Wobble. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, hey.
So in terms of some of the other international competitions you've played in, so you've played in Spain and Germany, as we mentioned, and you mentioned some of the rigorous routines or schedules that you have in Europe. So having some, was it 2-a-days, did you say, over there? Was it like gym and basketball?
So sometimes you would have 2 training sessions in a day, or like a shooting session and a training, in the morning, and then team training in the evening. I know some, not clubs that I've been to, but I know some other clubs will have 2 full team training sessions in a day as well. So depending on where you go, it can be quite rigorous.
Yeah, that sounds kind of intense. So now that you've experienced that, but you've also experienced a lighter schedule, but still a professional schedule, like in WNBL and Tauihi, do you feel like that's a little bit of overkill in Europe, or do you still think there's a bit of has a purpose?
I think it can have a purpose, but personally, I prefer the less is more approach, in terms of you have a maybe more condensed schedule. However, it's purposeful. It's like you can go to the gym for 3 hours, like lift weights for 3 hours a day, but you can get it done in 1 hour, 1.5 hour, and still have the same impact. So that's my philosophy.
Yeah, a little bit more like a quality over quantity kind of perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that, and perhaps for injury prevention as well, making sure you're getting quality over quantity and allowing a lot more time for recovery.
Yeah.
Is the work-life balance encouraged over there with the Southern Hoiho?
Yeah, there's couple of the girls in our squad that are going to school at the university here, and there's some who have other jobs as well, online, or maybe they're finishing their university studies and starting that transition. But it's really well encouraged, and people are encouraged to have their own jobs outside of this as well if they desire. So it's got a good work-life balance.
And what have you been able to find your balance yet? Like, what's your life off the basketball court like at the moment so far?
So at the moment, it's been good for me because I've mainly been just focusing on basketball while I'm here. So it's great to be able to have the time to go and do my work in the gym, and also have the time to explore Dunedin and get to know the place that I'm living as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. And it sounds like then that you are it sounds like you're given the opportunity to be a true professional athlete, where your day-to-day job is to focus on basketball and being a better athlete, and going to work. It's still work, but then going to be able to perform your best on game day. So it truly sounds like that's a professional athlete lifestyle.
Yeah, it really is. And it's great because you can have the time to be able to do your recovery and look after your body as well. And I think that's one of the most important things, especially if you're an athlete that just goes from season to season to season. You don't really get that much time off to be able to, you don't necessarily get a month or two off to heal like a small injury. And a lot of pro athletes, they carry those small injuries because they don't have the time off to just rest and fully heal. But I think having our schedule that we do, and also the Tauihi League being shorter in time than Europe, so it's only a 4-month season finishing in December. If you're playing NBL 1, it gives you a couple months or a month or two maybe before you join in their preseason. So it's actually it's actually ideal if you're playing NBL 1 to come over here during the summer, if you do want to have a little bit of a break afterwards.
It sounds like then after that you still will have time to jump into a European league if the opportunity arises.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people do that. They do the 4 months here, and then they have a look and see what's available on the back end of Europe. For me, this one of the reasons why I decided to come and play in the New Zealand League is because I wanted to have a little bit of time off for once. So it was good to have the opportunity to play in a league like that, because not only because of that, but the European seasons, they usually finish around May, and that cuts into the start of NBL 1, at least in the West it does. So it's just really convenient and aligns with the basketball life balance that I'm looking for at the moment.
What do you think are some of the main areas that the Southern Hoiho need to focus on to make sure that you make the finals?
We talked a lot over our past 3 games about rebounding and how that's going to be a major difference maker in our game. And in our last game that we won, our first win for the season, we really stepped up in our rebounding, and that made a huge effort in terms of slowing down the opposition's offense and getting some second chance opportunities for us. And that's probably going to be one of the biggest things, but also pushing the ball. We look really good. We've got some fast guards. We've got Lil Dart, who's so fast. She loves to push the ball down. We've got other guards who love to push the ball down the court. We've got people who love to run. So I think if we don't overthink what we're doing and we do those couple things, we're going to continue to look really good, because we've got smart players, and we've shown this past game that we have the team chemistry now. So I'm really excited for where we're going with it if we stick with those couple things.
Yeah, then they sound like simple fixes as well, I think, to make sure that you can get some more wins under your belt and stay consistent. Has it been tricky to try and find a balance between everyone's talents? Because you just reminded me that Lil Dart's in your team, and she can be a fantastic scoring point guard and distributor and likes to push the pace. But you've also got Paige Bradley in your team too, and I feel like they would play quite a similar role. But splitting court time between them would be really hard too, because they can both be playing 30 plus minutes a game. So has it been hard to get a bit of a balance between everyone's strengths?
I think it's not been, I wouldn't say it's been hard. I think it's just taken us a little bit of time to learn how to play together and what each other's strengths are. And now that we've had a couple of games, well, we've had 3 now, we have a better understanding of each other. And I think now that we have that, it's easier to balance that, all the different skill sets of all the players, because we know how to read each other. I think that's a big part of it, especially when you've got people who like playmaking and you've got people who would rather receive the ball, and it can be confusing if you don't know who's who, but or what people like to do. And so now that we've had those few games under our belt, I think we have a great feel for what everybody likes to do and how they like to play. And we've been able to adjust how we play to fit that well.
Yes, and so it sounds like as well, because you had a short period of preparation time and you kind of know each other, but not well enough to know what, almost like that sixth sense or telepathy you develop in basketball. Like, when you play with someone a long time, that when they come off a screen a certain way, what they want you to do or where to cut for them to get you the ball. So developing things like that. And that means that you have to almost communicate with each other a lot more to compensate when you are developing that sixth sense.
Yeah, exactly like that. I think we only had 2 weeks preseason with everybody together. That's not a lot of time. So now we've been together probably, 4 weeks or so, starting to feel more like a team. And that, like you said, we got that sixth sense now of what people like to do.
Yeah, 2 weeks is not a preseason at all, really. That's almost just like a quick holiday hello for a preseason. So you're having to learn a lot in a short period of time as the season's already started. Because how much break did you personally have between NBL1 Nationals and then moving to Dunedin?
I think I didn't have very long. I had about a week in between. So it was a pretty quick turnaround between national finals and coming here.
Yeah, and it's not a short move for you. You're pretty much moving from one of the furthest points in Australia all the way over to New Zealand, and having to pack up and move your, essentially like uproot yourself again to go over to New Zealand to play again. Is that something you get used to season to season, having to move around so much, or does it get harder and harder?
I think you get used to it. You get used to living out of a suitcase, but it's a good thing in a way, packing up and moving to a different place, because you get to experience a different culture. Even though New Zealand and Australia are kind of like brother and sister, it is a little bit different. and get to meet a bunch of new people. And each time you think about, I have to, pack up my suitcase and go again, you can think about the new people that you're going to meet. I'm lucky enough to have made friends with people from all over the world, and those kind of things make it okay. You forget about the hardships of it, I guess.
It's kind of like the bonuses. I mean, the opportunity to play professionally kind of gets you there, and then that's the vehicle for all the other cool things that comes with it, like making new friendships, getting to travel the world, and some other opportunities that might come up along the way.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly.
So, Jessie, something they also do a little bit differently in the Tauihi League is the Rapid League. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the Rapid League is not like anything I've ever seen before, but it's really cool. It's shortened form of a basketball game. So each quarter is only 4 minutes long, and it's fast-paced, and there's player timeouts in it. I think only the players can call timeouts, not coaches. But it's played before the Tauihi League games, and the starters, or if you're an American citizen, you can't play in the Rapid League. So one thing it's great for is that it gives some extra minutes to players who may not get as much time in the Tauihi League game, but it's televised just the same like before our Tauihi League game as well. And our Rapid team has done pretty well so far. I think we've won 2 out of our 3 Rapid games so far.
Oh, that's great. So, yeah, your bench is still getting a lot of reps and playing time as much as the starters in that way. So their development is still continuing in terms of, as you know, training can only take your development so far. But once you transfer it into a game, a player's development is a lot better. So can provide that opportunity. So with the Rapid League as well, do they have like a parallel kind of championship to the regular Tauihi League?
That's a great question. I'm not sure about whether they have a championship series. I don't know in terms of that, but I do know they get points for their wins, and at the end of the season, I think the team that gets the most points is the championship, but I don't exactly know whether they have a series or anything. But it's super interesting, though it does make it a little interesting on game day so the Rapid game starts an hour before the Tauihi League game. So for people who are used to doing a full proper team warm-up, it's a bit different because it's split, because you have the Rapid warm-up, and then as they're maybe refueling and having a rest in between, the starters of the Tauihi League and any Americans who might not be starting for any reason start their warm-up. So it's a little bit strange and jarring at first to adjust to the warm-up, especially if you used to do the classic just whole team getting it done together. But we're starting to get used to it. It's just one of those things that you have to get used to.
Yeah, because I wonder as well, for someone that would play in the Rapid League, that kind of weird turnaround time of like, you can't really have a rest, but you kind of need to stay warm in a sense where while you're cooling down and everyone's warming up, but you also need to rehydrate and refuel and stay warm as well, but still have the potential of then just going to sit perhaps on the bench a little bit longer when the Tauihi League starts. So how does that go? Have you noticed how some of the Rapid League players are managing their bodies that way? Like, are they getting on a bike, or do they just kind of just let it happen?
On game day, we have, lots of food in our locker room, like peanut butter, jam sandwiches, like those little, energy pouches, lots of different kinds of food we have for them. Usually everybody has something to eat and has a little rest while the starters do the first half of their warm-up. And once they've had something to eat and a little break, they'll come and join us for the second half of the second half of the Tauihi warm-up. So it's a little odd and chopped up, but we do end up doing something all together. It's just for a lot less time than most people are used to.
So who are some of the main players from your Southern Hoiho team that are regularly featured in the Rapid League games?
So Lil Dart usually plays in the Rapid games. Since we've only had three games so far. There's been, like, last game, Beck Pizzy was in the Rapid League and Zoe started in the Tauihi League. But Zoe's played 2 games starting in the Rapid League as well. So plenty of other girls, like Sammy, she's one of our, leaders of our team. She's a really hard player. She plays so well, plays Rapid League a lot as well. So there's so many talented players that really get minutes in both teams, but they do feature, in our Rapid League as well.
So Rapid League is still going to be like a high caliber level of basketball, because when you have the likes of your Lil Darts and your Zoe Richards and your Beck Pizzies coming off the bench for particular games, making them eligible for Rapid League, like these are all players that could easily start here and over in New Zealand and in Australia. So it's the caliber of play isn't lost with Rapid League, even though it's focused for those that aren't starting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big thing that we've talked about, and it is true that Rapid League isn't some sort of secondary team or like demotion from Tauihi League. It's just on the same level of like intensity, and it's really fun to watch the fast quarters. I highly encourage anyone who hasn't seen Rapid League to watch it before, because it's such an interesting format to watch the quarters move so quickly and to see the players have to play at such a fast pace.
It sounds a little bit of a mix of 3x3 and traditional 5-on-5, but the pace of a 3x3, but the format of a 5-on-5.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, because of the quarters being so short, only 4 minutes, they're generally very intense and very fast, and there's probably less stoppages than you would expect in a longer format game. So I think basketball in the long format that most of us are used to has been becoming a faster game anyway, with pushing the ball in a lot more, getting up and down fast, and it's kind of translated, I think, into a different format with Rapid League that's super exciting to watch, and still like plenty of great talented players that are showing up every week and playing their heart out too. We have a really cool, I was just going to say too, it's really cool with our Rapid uniform, the story of our Rapid uniform. It's designed to look like the aurora that you can see from Dunedin. So our white one it's just pink because of printing, uniform printing restrictions, but our black one you can see on the shorts, it's got pink and purple kind of gradient on there that it's supposed to represent the Southern Lights aurora in this area.
Oh, that's really cool. Because I didn't even think that the Rapid League would have completely different uniforms as well. Yeah. Is that the same for all of the clubs?
I think it's pretty standard that they have a different uniform. How different that is to the Tauihi League uniform depends on the club, but ours is quite different from the Tauihi League uniform.
Oh, interesting. And are fans able to then purchase both versions of the uniform, like a Rapid League uniform and a Tauihi League uniform?
That's a great question. I don't have the answer to that, but I hope so, because they're really cool jerseys.
Yeah, I hope so too. I might have to look them up online or try and reach out to someone from the association to find out. I'm going to be in New Zealand watching the Tauihi League for round 10. So I'll have to save some pennies just in case that there's some jerseys on sale.
Yeah, for sure.
for those that are listening, where can our Front Row Hustle fans find you on social media?
So I am on Instagram at Jessie Edwards 00. So you can find me on Instagram there. That's pretty much most of the social media I use. Just Instagram. Simple and easy.
I think that is a good way to be, because there's just way too many to keep across. And you can also find the Southern Hoiho on Instagram, just at Southern Hoiho, which is spelled Hoiho. But Jessie, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for chatting to us at Front Row Hustle, and wishing you the best of luck for the Tauihi season.
Thank you so much.